we're live. Welcome back to the Weekly Roundup, the place where we unpack what's been going on in the yoga, wellness, boutique, fitness world and what we've been coaching our clients through. Basically, I feel like our intro should be, this is where we just run our mouths about things that are on our minds coming up in coaching to sort of keep our finger on the pulse of what's happening. Oh, what's that, Falcon? I'm on a call now. Okay, thanks. Breakfast is being made for me as we speak. I love it. Our household has now figured out how to make eggs. So now we only eat eggs for breakfast, basically.
Hey, that's good.
Okay. Well, let's get into it. AI. It almost sounds hilarious starting a conversation by saying that because, like, walking on the street here in a beach town where people are on vacation wearing just their bathing suit, they still sound like this. They're just like, we'll just get AI to do it. Like that's like the cliche state. You know how like a few years ago it was, you're muted because everyone was on Zoom. Now it's just get AI to do it. That's the t-shirt of the moment.
I feel like everyone's like, can't you just get AI to do it? Like they're
Yeah.
like, we could figure that out, right? So, but I think there's a lot more to it than just, you know, a simple prompt. Yeah,
Currently, I would
there's a lot
agree.
going on.
And man, is it changing fast. Like we said this, go back and watch the roundups 6 months ago, and I said exactly this, not tooting my horn here, but like we're like, in 6 months from now, it looks totally different. Like it's just moving so exponentially faster than anyone can even really understand. I don't even understand it. But yeah, it's going to catch people, especially businesses, off guard. So the thoughts I've been having and the conversation we've been having in coaching a lot, and I've found myself even coaching towards this, especially with management team. There's a few clients that I have where the owner of the studio is part-time on the coaching, and most of the coaching is actually with the management team and helping them stay organized because they're the actual boots on the ground. So that's a fun way to coach for us because it's really like in the weeds of the day-to-day operation of stuff sometimes. So can be kind of a fun area, fun arena to play in. This is just a lot. Long story short, AI, can you get AI to do it? The reframe that I think is most articulate right now is instead of thinking about any work you're doing, especially creative work, writing, imagery, whatever, but even workflows, this happens, then this, then this. Instead of thinking, I need to do that work, the reframe is, I am the director of that work getting done. So 6 months ago, we talked a lot about the idea of like prompt engineering and that being the skill. But further down the path of that concept is not just prompting, it's being the director. And the weird thought that I've been having is like, there couldn't be anything more yogic than this, more like new aged, manifest your reality. You're the creator of your environment. Like what's more practically directly aligned with that than this? Like you get to direct all the stuff getting done instead of doing it. Like it just manifests for you.
Wow. I like that thought. It's actually a hard pill for me to swallow because I am that person that like I want to do all the things and I want my hand in every pie, and it's hard to think about it in that way, but man, it would free up a lot of time, it seems like long term. Yeah.
Yeah, time. And I feel like, I mean, I don't know what you think about this, Carol, but as an owner myself in the past and in any business as an entrepreneur, and then what I see as a coach with our coaching clients often is it's like what chakral area are you operating from? Like what's like flowing properly? And very often an owner comes to us and we call it the perpetual state of overwhelm, the cycle of sacrifice. And what's happened is they've had to do so much stuff and it's been a lot of hard work to the point that they're either burnt out or on the line of burnt out, that then they're like root chakral, but even more importantly, or equally as importantly, their creative chakral center is like turned off. Like it's they're like, and what that looks like is you're like this. You're like have the horse blinders on. You're like, okay, I've just got to do this thing in my business. Oh, I got to put out this fire. Oh, this person's being a butthead, and you're stuck like this, and you lose the ability temporarily to like zoom out and get the bigger perspective of what's happening and let your creativity flow to sort of really build something more awesome. This is a long-winded way of saying yes, you speed up time, but to me, for some people, myself included, if you're directing what's happening and then it manifests at speed, it feeds the dopamine response of that creativity. It kind of lightens that up again, where now you can. I'll give a really practical example. There's a studio that has to rebuild their intro funnel because they switched platforms. The previous intro funnel was really good based off of our $1 million retention sequence, but it's like 30 pieces long and they want to rebuild the whole thing because it's like 6 years old now, like it's dated. And they're looking at it and procrastinating and not getting it done because they're like, oh, it's such a huge endeavor. There's all of these things we have to create. And I was really coaching them towards like just one, what's the next correct step? Just do one thing. Like, can we just write one text message and put it in? And then we'll just add from there. Then they come back the next week because we talked about how would you use a prompting sequence to have AI get you to draft one faster? How would you direct this instead? They come back 3 days later on a call and they're like, it's done. Kind of like, wasn't that bad. Took me 6 hours. And like, it would have taken 30 hours before. But off the back of that, it's like, then the creativity is flowing. You can get into that flow state of just doing stuff because the speed is more satiating or something.
Yeah. It's funny, I just did a post in our community about it was a TikTok that I came across my For You page that was this woman, she's like, this is a series called How Long Does It Actually Take? And it's something she had been
Hmm.
procrastinating on for a year and a half. And then she's like, okay, and she goes through the whole exercise and she's like, that took me 31 minutes total. And, something she had been waiting to do forever and ever and ever now just took it was nothing. And
Yeah.
so it sort of ties into this. And like, yeah, using these tools can really make it seems more daunting than it is, but you've got a lot of access and you've got, through our network too, you've got a lot of creative people and ideas and you've got coaches that can help too. So um, those things, you know, we stop ourselves because of we make it bigger than it actually is too, a lot of times.
Man, this it's true. I do it to this day, and I couldn't even. It's funny as a coach. There's this weird thing that happens, and this is the same thing with as a yoga teacher. I think as well, people will relate to this, or a Pilates teacher, or whatever. Right? Like you can coach towards something, and as soon as you do, then you become hyper aware of it in yourself, and you're like, shit, like I've got to take my own advice. That to me, that's the biggest one. As I'll find myself having two or three clients at the same time where I'm like you're blowing up in your mind how big this is because I just know like it's just not that big. Like if you just get started, it'll be okay. And
Mhm.
then they do and it works out. But then every time that happens, then I check myself and I'm like, shit, like I keep thinking there's this huge thing I've got to do. And it's really just, I got to write a couple emails or something. Like it's not that bad. So yeah, getting
Yeah.
over the procrastination. I think that's
Well, then actually
where,
having,
oh, go ahead, Carol. There's a
okay.
delay, I think.
I was just gonna, yeah, I was just gonna say, having a coach too, that professional overwhelm where you can't even tell what is the biggest thing that's going to impact your business is also part of having somebody on your side in your corner to help you zoom out because you do those blinders of this person's being a butthead. I got to write that email. This fire needs to be put out. It's really hard to, those seem really important at that time, but if you want to actually make an impact, we need something to pull us out of it and see the bigger picture. So
Yeah.
that's where also having somebody on, that can help you see that and pull you back is so helpful. But yeah, anyway, that's all I wanted to mention.
No, you raise a good point because actually, so circling this back to some of the AI conversation, it's like There's a lot of stuff you'll see online. You go watch reels or TikToks right now of people saying like, here's something you can do with AI that blah, blah, blah. I would say 50% of it is just people trying to get videos to go viral online. Like it's not actually really good anchored content in terms of they don't own a business. They're not showing you, they're like, here's how you make 30 posts for your yoga studio. Like you'll see shit like that all the time. And it's not wrong. You can do it. But if you go and try it, it's it really doesn't always produce the result that they kind of claim. And that can be frustrating. And I think that's what's deterring people. Same thing. There's a lot of information saying like, okay, go into your AI and like give it all this information and then just ask it questions. It's like basically get it to audit you. And that's actually something that it can do pretty powerfully, but it's limited by the information that you give it. So the reason I say this is that to your point, I had a client that was doing this. It's called a God prompt. They're like, after an AI learns you for a while, then there's this quote God prompt where you're like, what do I have blind spots about myself? So they did this with their business. And what it came back with was fascinating. And the reason they brought it up is they're like, well, here's these two things that like we're not working on in coaching. And they were interesting, but what they lacked was like there was all this context, one, that they had not given to the AI. And two, it was a priority question. So to your point, it's like knowing what to work on. Like I don't even know what to work on. And then there's probably 10 things at any moment in time. But what's the highest impact thing? And that's where it failed. Like that's where it just doesn't, just like a influencer saying like, just do this in your business and make $1 million. And it's like, you don't know what the fuck you're talking about. The AI kind of missed that still. So that was fascinating. And hence the director idea that like AI is here to help us speed up production, to alleviate tension of creation, get rid of some procrastination. It is in fact a way for you to get better at skills that you're not super skilled at, copywriting, whatever. But you still have to look at it with a critical thinking mindset. You still need to be a bigger director for it. Like it's not quite at that level yet where you can just be like, tell me what to do, sort of thing, especially a yoga
Yeah.
studio.
Yeah, but I mean, over time it starts to learn more about your I don't know, business itself. And I mean, oftentimes I'll put in the URL of a studio that I'm working with. And so it can sort of even take in everything that they're putting out there through their website as context to what, what's their messaging? How can we, here's my
Yeah.
website. Tell me, now I need to create 3 emails that do this, that, and the other. And I don't know, it just, that part of it is so great. I mean, you don't have to do a lot of input, I guess.
Yeah.
Well, for simple
Yeah.
things, but for something that's more like that God question is really like, I don't know, it kind of, I'm
It's
really
pretty creepy. It's
interested
pretty
in it.
creepy.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I, one little bit more dystopian viewpoint that's coming up for me as we're talking about this is like, if we think about like I can still remember my phone number from the first house I lived in when I still have conscious memory, you know? Like I remember that phone number.
Mhm.
And for that matter, like my dad's work number and like I can remember these phone numbers. I don't know my own son's phone number right now. Like it's actually something I'm practicing to try to remember. Because when do you need to know a phone number? It's just not how we operate. So like our brain is so good at filtering out unnecessary clutter that it does that. A lot of this AI use stuff, this critical thinking director role, in my opinion, is the important way to look at it because I would say that the risk for some people is that it learns enough about you that what it gives you back feels correct, but then you're just blindly following it. And that doesn't make sense right now. Like that's risky. And AIs, every AA program out there, like they hallucinate, they come up with things that are incorrect information, et cetera, et cetera. So just like they are imperfect. So anyways, I just think there's some risk of like losing some of the ownership element in your business if you over index, or like even say an employee, a manager who's like in charge of your emails or whatever. It's like you should be using AI to create this stuff for sure because it's just so exponentially faster. I don't care how good the person is at writing, but you still need the oversight and direction to know if the end product is good and how to adjust that. And that's the part that I think that we're at risk, is like risky in a business. Other than not using it at all. I think the businesses that don't adopt this, I don't know if they'll die, but like they're just have no possibility of competing on a production level. And so you'll have to reframe the value of your business around low production volume on whatever the thing is. Okay, let's take another direction.
Really interesting. Yeah. Okay.
Everyone knows about in artificial intelligence LLMs, large language models. This is your Chat GPT, your Grok, your Gemini. It's when you talk to it in native language and then it spits out an answer and it responds based off of its knowledge base or search of the internet. The other area, or one of the other areas right now that I think is really fascinating, are AI agents. So you may have heard about these online or seen them already. And the subtle difference here is the way that they're talked about is like an AI agent as a person. Like I create AI Carol and Carol can do these tasks and I just give Carol the tasks. That's not exactly what it is. I think AI agents is like the new way of us describing what 10 years ago we would have described as automation. It's like, okay, when someone enters my mind body system, it automatically goes into my constant contact, which then triggers a sequence of 5 emails to go to them. And that whole automation, that's what an AI agent does now. Like that automation happened automatically off of a trigger and didn't require any input or oversight from someone else for it to take place. AI agents are that just times 1,000. It's like they can just do more. But the agent word comes in when you're no longer just using AI as the tool. Something happens and it literally goes through it and completes the entire task. And so that's really where in the work world, in the entrepreneurship world, where there's a ton of effort being put right now. The theory being like, we'll see our first $1 billion company with only one man or one woman running it in the next 5 years, is the theory, 5 to 10 years, because everything else will be run through AI agents. Like you won't need a team at all. But what does that mean for a yoga studio? That's what I've been sort of researching and trying to put in place. So two examples. One, I'm building right now, or attempting to build, because it is a little bit complex, an AI agent with our Slack channel. So if you're a full-time coaching client with us, you get a private Slack channel in our Slack that we pay for with your coach and myself and our admin team. And so in between your coaching calls, real time, you can send a video, a voice, ask a question, whatever else. Like it's a direct communication that you can have with us, which can be really powerful. You know, if you're working with your coach on something in depth, you might not need to do 3 calls this week because that's difficult scheduling wise and time wise, but you do need to have an ongoing conversation. Long story short, as well, we have an extra call scheduler link. So you can go find the link in your Slack channel, click on it, go to the calendar, find an available time in your time zone, book the call, whatever, whatever. That's not hard, but for a test, what I'm trying to build is a scheduling agent. So what it would look like, because this has been done, I just haven't figured out how to do it for us yet, is instead I go into the Slack channel and I put in a special prompt /booking and say like, hey, I need an extra call with Carol this week. Ideally, it would be Tuesday after 4 p.m. And now the bot talks with you just like it would be a person and literally goes through. And when you agree on a time, it books the call for you. So even the booking is completely finished. The experience on our side as the user is I just had a conversation with someone, the AI agent, and that's done. That same concept in a yoga studio, imagine for substitutions with your teachers, imagine for scheduling a meeting time, imagine for certain communication with clients. We'll get into that in a second. Like it's also applicable. And I know this is long-winded, Carol, so just the second example would be email. Email is like one of the biggest stressors that we see in studios. It becomes a real time suck. And there's a few different ways that we coach towards mitigating that. Ideally, you're moving towards zero inboxing, being that like at the end of every day, there is nothing in your inbox if you've done it well, which sounds insane if you see thousands of emails all the time, but I'm telling you, we can do it. Like usually within a week, we can get that working. You could in the future have an AI agent where when a Gmail comes into your inbox, it automatically puts it through into a GPT that you've built with a specific prompt. It reads the email and categorizes it. It builds a draft response, and then you could make it send it, or it would just go into your drafts. So now the way that you do email is you go in and you look at your drafts. You don't look at your inbox anymore. And you just check it out. Like you just scan it really quick and be like, is this response good? Cool, send. So now in the time it would have taken you to read and respond to one email, you do 10.
Sounds amazing. And I'm sure over time, if you got more comfortable with this type of response and every time it's correct, you could just, I don't even need to see the draft anymore. Just send that out, you know? Um,
Totally.
that would be incredible. Yeah. It is a
Or
huge
I was
time
thinking,
suck for studio.
right. And I was thinking too
Go
that
ahead.
like everyone knows this is a thing. So I don't see there being any actual problem with owning this. Like imagine if you have an AI responding for you, but it actually has it just like it has a signature. Like you might email me and then you get a response from Sarah and she would say like, "Hey, this is Sarah." Just name your AI agent that. Be like, "Hey, this is Nomad Yoga's Gmail agent. Here's what I'm understanding from your email. Here's my response." And then it just at the bottom, it just has like, does this answer everything you need? Just like a customer service agent would. Yes, no. And if no, then it sends a direct email. Or like you could even have, if they click no, it sends a Slack message to you. So you could immediately jump in. So there's other like
Yeah.
creative
I,
ways
I
to
mean,
buffer for it.
yeah, I just had an experience where I could tell like it was a really good AI phone person. But I knew it wasn't an actual person. But my question was beyond just scheduling an appointment for an electrician, right? So I was just like, can I talk to a person? And sure enough, it just said sure. And it clicked me right over to an
Yeah,
actual human that I could ask, you know, but had I just needed an appointment, it would have been perfect and it would have answered all my questions. But I
totally.
like that as an option. It's like, clearly, I don't need to talk to somebody for this problem, but something else, you know, would gives me the option to talk to a human. Yeah, that sounds really helpful.
Yeah. Well, and to that exact point, like from a customer service standpoint, then if something escalates to a human, you would assume, like as the customer base, ourselves and included as the consumer base adjusts for this, because I think for most people, this is actually the preference, you know, as it adjusts, if something does escalate to you, like then the person picking up the phone is a more skilled, trained person because you don't need 10, you need one. And you know that by the time we're actually needing to talk to someone, it's like it requires some thinking, massaging, conversation, customer service that the AI isn't capable of yet. So like that it's a more nuanced or specific role that you're creating then, as opposed to like, I just need someone to pick up the phone and book things, which is likely just whoever your admin person is at your electrician company who doesn't have any customer service training because they're just there pushing papers, you know, like no knock on them, but like different skill set. Hmm.
Yeah.
So the other thing, Carol, you pointed out before we jumped on was because in our Slack channel, I've been posting some fun photos, images that I've created with AI. That's an area where it's been good for a while. Like Midjourney was the first that I think really got it nailed. Inside ChatGPT now, their image creator is like pretty dialed, actually. Um, so the two things that I've been able to do with it that I think are applicable right now is one, getting like, let's say you're creating a web page, a landing page. You can talk through and create your landing page and then get it to create an image. And the image will be imperfect, but it lets you visually see what you've just talked through. And then you can also get it to create HTML code of what that would look like, which you can literally copy and paste in. Now, asterisks, most of the web builders aren't prepared for this. So you paste the HTML in and it works, but you have one block. Like, when you build in Squarespace, you put a block in and you put in like a code
Mm.
block for HTML. It's one block for the entire page. So then to go in and edit it like you normally would, you can't do that. You have to edit the HTML.
Hmm.
So then, yeah. So, but the point being, like, the image creator, beyond being able to do funny stuff, is just fascinating that you can get a visual representation. So even if you were to say, I want a page that does this, you create the image of it, here's the copy, and then you send it to your web person. Like, you've shortened the development time and the creation of that by tenfold at least.
Yes.
It,
Yeah, and for somebody that would understand HTML, they could break it up and that would be really quick. I think, figuring out what goes where, it wouldn't be a hard
right.
pasting exercise, basically. So, yeah, that sounds really amazing. It's moving at
Yeah.
light speed, like,
Yeah. I think the other place is like, this moment's going to pass us by, but we're in a moment of content creation from a marketing perspective, where like producing high volume content that's half good, like organic content, we're in sort of a moment right now where that is super powered more than it's been. It's going to pass everyone by. Like, this moment will be over. It will definitely change. And I don't think it's going to be that much longer that it exists. So, side note, now's the time to be putting content out. Like, at as much volume as you can. Like, just get over the scared part, just put it out there. But in order to produce more volume, that's the other place that image creators are interesting. And so the example would be, I took a photo that I had on my phone of Mara and I and posted it. And then I got it to create the same photo, but I'm like, add in Mara's dog and make us goblins. And like, it spit it back out. So, and I made it a caricature cartoon version, but you can do a photorealistic photo. The idea of basing something off a photo eliminates the necessity for you to create um, stock photos anymore. So
Mhm.
now, instead of me creating stock photo or going and buying stock photos, or me hiring someone to come in and do a photo shoot of my yoga studio where I have 1,000 photos and I've got to filter through them. It's not that you wouldn't do that. It's like, I just need like 10 good photos of my yoga room in different circumstances as the base photo for the prompt to create another photo. I haven't tested this at nauseum yet, but if you're doing like simple stuff, quote cards, background, B-roll on a video, I think I think this works. And importantly, doesn't just look like some AI image, like will legitimately look like your studio.
That part is important. It's,
Right.
you know, the up until now, at least, you could prompt it, but then you know, like the server would have feet for hands or like
Right.
it would spit out something that's really strange looking. So you knew it was AI, and now yeah, it's getting better and better. That would be really
There's
great. And then you don't have to
oh, keep going.
go ahead. Yeah, it's delays. Yeah. All good, you go. I
Oh, I was going to say
already lost my train of thought.
B-roll for video is the other place. Like you can create a whole AI video, but they're still a little janky. But what's interesting now is you can with Sora, and also there's a product Halio that I've tried. There's a few other ones out there. You can prompt first to create an image. So the example is you could be like, I want a picture of a woman in her 50s leaving a hot yoga class, high-fiving the instructor with three other friends, everyone smiling, carrying yoga mats. And it'll create that image, and then you can take that image and turn it into a 5-second video. And the video's like pretty fucking good. Like if you don't really discerningly look at it, it looks good. Now, will it look exactly like your studio? That part I don't know. But a huge element of creating content and making content engaging, one of the things would be B-roll. And it's like, now if you're like, shit, it would be really cool if I had a shot like this, you can literally just go create it in 10 minutes instead of going and filming it and trying to edit that piece and piecing it together. So those are the little things that I think are pretty cool with the image creator part of it. Um, yeah, just because it's gotten
Since I
high enough
don't,
quality that you can do it.
yeah, I haven't been playing with any of this. Are most of those paid for? Like what is I don't, what were they called again, even? The different
Yeah, like
image editors and just
yeah,
to,
one of them's called Halio. Let me just look up what it is. Haluo. Yeah. Hailuo. ChatGPT has Sora, Sora. HeyGen is another one. That's the one that's been around for a while. And yeah, most of them have a free version where you can create. You have like they work on a credit system. Hey, side note here, man,
oh,
twice I'm gonna toot my horn
credits.
today. Yeah, yeah, twice I'm gonna toot my horn today. It's what I've been saying. Like, I don't see a future of pricing where we're not moving towards credits. And so all of these AI things, the majority of them, not all of them, but the majority work on credits. So you get 10 credits a month for free, which like basically makes two little 5-second videos. But then you have to pay for more credits if you want to do more projects or if you want it to work faster, have advanced features. But credits are a correct pricing model for them because it depends on use. So again, the normalization of tokenization of price of crediting. Because also, if I buy $100 worth of credits with one of these AIs, what I'm not doing is going to another AI to try to create the same thing. So it increases upfront stickiness as well on these platforms.
Yep, you've been saying it for a long time. So
I don't know. We'll see. Um, yeah. What's coming up with coaching for you?
we've been looking back at our Q1, the goals we set for Q1 and how we did, and looking forward at the end of Q2, like where do we want to go from here? Yeah, just kind of goal setting and got I don't know, a couple of people where recently it was that thing where we just need to do that thing together because it was just that daunting. It felt really big. So that's what prompted me to post the how long does it actually take? And yeah, maybe it took us a few hours, a few calls to get something done, but it had been on the list for 4 months, like
Mm-hmm.
it just kept getting pushed and pushed and pushed. And it was part of the goals for this year. So yeah, just little things like that. well, they're big things. I guess they're big in the end. They'll make a big
No, I mean,
impact. Uh, but
the just keeping the next step forward, I think, is that's the difference between the professionals and the amateurs, is like taking the next step. It's the
yeah,
accumulation of the little things. Yeah, the goal setting, I feel like a lot of people start the new year with an idea of goals for the year and whatever, whatever, but they don't do the check-in part every quarter. And so it's important. I know for us, like
mhm,
Mara helps me with this quite a bit as our operations boss. We're like, by the time we get through a quarter, if she wasn't reminding me of the goals, like I would be rewriting our entire year. She's like, no, like we got to stay on path with this. We got to do
right.
this shit still. And so,
Right.
yeah, that check-in helps pull everyone back to focus on like what really matters. And but also like, are we, to your point of getting stuff done, are we progressing towards the goal? And it's that progress over perfection concept.
Exactly. Yeah. I mean, it's one thing, like we launched the summit, so come join us in November, yoga studio owners and your managers, to get your 2026 all planned and ready to go. But yeah, I mean, our clients who went for in 2024 and we're looking at 2025, it's so helpful to go back and look at what did we say at the end of that summit that you wanted to do this year? Because
Mhm.
it just like you said, it's so easy to just start taking off in another direction or put your energy into this thing that's not really moving you towards that goal. So we just keep pulling it back, pulling it back. Nope, we said we want to make this, we want to up this to this percentage this year. How are we going to do that? You know, so it just helps to reframe uh, the expectations and then the tasks that you actually want to go through to get closer to those goals. Um,
I'm just taking a note here. You're making me think about a conversation about our summit this year. Our summit's always in November. The two things we always say that Carol's alluding to too is like the number one feedback we get and why we run the visionary summit the way we do is for every 10 minutes you spend in planning, you save an hour in implementation. And so the feedback is because more than 50% of the summit is repeat clients. Because once people come to it, they realize how powerful it is. They come back straight up. And so, but the feedback is they look at their last year's goals when they come back the next year and they're like, we smash these things, or they had like a really good year. And the only thing that's changed really is that they went through the effort ahead of time to do the goal setting and have a plan for checking in on it. I would interpret that as because it gets you more focused. Like very often coaching studios, there's no lack of capability. And especially now with this AI stuff as well, like knowledge by itself isn't power. Therefore, lack of knowledge isn't as big of a problem as you think it is. Because you can go and learn something and get information on it really quickly now, much faster than we've ever been able to before. The question is, what information on what? So the difference is the focus level. If you can come up with three, maximum 4 or 5 big things for a year, and then like break it down to this quarter, Q1, we're going to try to do this. And then you actually just focus on that, and then you check in on it and reset for the next quarter. You can pretty much guarantee that after a year, you're going to be much further ahead in what you've accomplished in your business, as opposed to just reacting to the business in real time and what's going on. And you'll know that you're the latter because you'll have that sense of like perpetually having a pile of shit to do and never feeling like you're getting ahead. That doesn't mean that you're not working hard. It means you're working on the wrong shit.
Well, and there's so many studio owners that have everything on their plate and they haven't figured out how to delegate some of the, you know, the day-to-day things that could free them up to focus on the bigger visionary picture. So that is why a lot of people just feel that perpetual overwhelm too. They are in the trenches. They have to wait for the plumber to come fix the toilet. Like we can have somebody else
Right.
do that and you can focus on the bigger things. So yeah, it's kind of getting people out of that overwhelm is a really can be tough for a lot of people. It seems.
Yeah, I feel like the overwhelm part, what happens is you get so stuck like this that you feel what people do. And look, like I'm guilty of this. Carol, I'm sure you can relate to this. Like every entrepreneur, every human goes through this. You get so stuck like this that you end up in this psychological, emotional state where you're waiting for something to happen to snap you out of this. So, like, you're overwhelmed, and the thought becomes, okay, well, when I make more money, or if this thing happens, or if my landlord gave me this break, or when this person, blah, 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 or like, please, more people come in, then I'll be able to behave and do this other stuff. So we're waiting for some other impetus. And that just never happens. I mean, sometimes it does, but like it's why actually when things go wrong, sometimes that's better for you. That's that beta region paradox, right? Where it's like if it's not bad enough that you have to do something to save yourself, but it's not good enough that you're crushing it, that's a bad spot to be in. It's like if it gets really bad, then you're like, fuck, I'm about to die or my business is going to close. Then you start doing shit. So that's the thing that prompts it. The point being, things like the summit and doing planning and having checkup on your goals, like you're coaching towards, Carol, I think they are that impetus. Like you artificially create it. Where if you you set your goals for the year and then you go after Q1 and you look at it and you just get brutally honest with yourself and your team. Like, did we accomplish what we were supposed to do this quarter? Yes or no? No, we didn't. And then you just have to ask the question, like, if this is my voice in my own head, well, why the fuck didn't we? Like, what's our problem? I don't say that to our team, but you just get that brutally honest thing to kind of like snap yourself back into paying attention to get focused on working on the stuff that matters. That's how you get pulled out of here. If you don't set those goals and you don't check in, that's hard. There's nothing to look at.
I also think through like when they say if you want to manifest or you want to be in this position, you have to start acting as if you're in that position already. Like you said, it's kind of like where you're saying you don't
Yeah.
get something rarely is going to push you into that. You have to behave as if you're already there. So how do you do that as an entrepreneur, or how do you get out of that perpetual, bullshit mode of everything is on your plate? Like you have to start creating that life for yourself outside of doing all the little minute, little things in the business, I guess. So it's an interesting, yeah, that place where it's not so bad, but it's not so great. It's a tough place to be because you're right, it doesn't move you in any direction in a
Yeah.
real strong way. You're just sort of stuck. So,
The scariest,
but yeah, the goal.
um, go ahead.
Oh, I'm done.
Oh, the scariest place to find a studio in coaching wise. And I had a client come to me recently that I'm still actually working with. The scariest place is where the studio's making enough money to pay for everything. The owner's making enough money to live, but its KPIs tell us that things aren't working properly. It's like their conversion rates are much lower than the benchmarks that we have, both for the industry and in the YC. They're not like every month, it's not clear how much MRR is going to come in. It's fluctuating a lot. They don't have a few engines built. Like there's no consistency of leads. It's just kind of up to things. It's just like their location, their market, their product, their team are just good enough that everything's kind of working. And you could say, if it's not broke, don't fix it. But that's the scariest place, is because there's all these things that aren't being built, aren't moving forward, aren't growing, and or are broken, but they can afford to ignore them. And so that's that beta region paradox. Like, that's really scary, because very often it's hard to find the motivation to get going on some of the shit. So part of what we do in coaching is like, we're not negative, but we have to like give you the truth bomb, like the no BS policy we have, telling the truth in coaching. We like, hey, like, if this trajectory continues that you're on, in a year from now, you're going to be fucked. Like, it's good, unless something changes, or unless the market shifts or whatever. And the examples of what that looks like really, if a competitor comes into your market, to say it will have no impact on your business is bullshit. Of course it will. But for you to over focus on competition is a really dumb place to put your energy. And really, if someone can enter your market and eat your lunch, then you have a product problem. It's not because of them, it's something internally. This studio we're talking about that's in this beta region that's a bit scary, that's often what happens. Is it's like things are going along and they're happy and whatever, and then they come to us because one other studio opens up down the street and their business just goes bloop 30% down, and they don't realize that it's like, it's not because of that other business, it's because their situation was more precarious than they realized.
Yeah, it's hard to see that if you're not checking your numbers monthly and staying on top of that. Um, yeah, so do your KPIs, folks.
Totally.
Um,
Do your KPIs. You want to talk about automations? We have an automation
yeah.
in Slack that sends all of our clients a message once a month, because it's part of your coaching contract with us. So you do your KPIs every month. So we have a reminder every single month. Hey, KPI time. Fill out your sheet. Simple automation stuff. All right, last thought for today that sort of relates to all of this, that I've been thinking about a lot with studio owners, because what's come up over the last few months, and you and I experienced this, Carol, at an onsite recently too. Managing your team and the managers and their emotional state and that relationship, like, this is such an ongoing battle for a studio. And that's understandable, because people are going to people. But I was thinking about it from like the owner's place or the manager's place in the business. Like, what are some of the things that would prohibit them from being a really great leader? And one of the things that came up on a call was the idea of like worrying about what others think about you. And so it's the example being like, okay, I know I need to have this hard conversation with this front desk person, but I'm worried about what the rest of the team's going to think about me if I do it wrong, or how they're going to think about me or whatever. And what kind of hit me like a ton of bricks, the epiphany was, I don't think that's true. I don't think that most of us are worried about what others think about us. I think you're worried about what you think about yourself, and the other people are the excuse.
Hmm. Yeah, it could be. But if you're moving through the world with as much integrity and, you know, honesty, or however, sometimes maybe honesty isn't the right word, but like, because sometimes, I don't know, to save someone's feelings, you may not be completely honest, or at least brutally
Right.
honest. But if you're, moving with integrity, and you are framing a conversation where this is where I'm coming from and I'm open to hear from where you're coming from, like, do you really, I don't know, like, why would you care? Yeah, maybe I don't know. What I'm trying to say with this, I don't even know. I feel like maybe it is, if you're not doing that, then maybe that's where that's coming from. If you're
Totally.
not coming from, that's, yeah. So as long as you are, then it shouldn't be a problem. But if you're not coming with integrity and openness, right? Okay, that's what you're saying.
That,
I got
yeah, I
there
totally,
finally.
no, that's brilliant. You're saying exactly, yeah, it's a totally, totally bang on the thought. Like, if you're confident in yourself, you're like, I approach this place from a heart-centered place. I did it professionally. I kept to my personal morals in doing it, my business ethics in doing it. I was empathetic. I put the effort in. And I also enforced on or like actually took the action that was uncomfortable. Like for myself personally, I don't want to have a negative conversation with you, but I have to do it. Like if you do all of those things, you don't give a shit about what the other person thinks anymore. Like it's not that you don't give a shit about them or what they think at all, but you can kind of sleep at night. Like you're more confident in the situation. That's, in my opinion, what makes someone a really great leader is being able to lead from that place. That's actually part of the thought. Like, well, what's the reverse of that? The person who doesn't have the conversation, or the person who is scared of the conversation and is avoiding it or procrastinating or lets things escalate by not addressing it soon enough or whatever else. We would think like, oh, it's because I'm scared of what Carol's going to think about me. That's not actually it. It's I'm scared. I don't trust myself. I'm scared that I'm going to not like myself after the conversation with you. And you'll reflect it. Like you'll show me this thing that I don't like. And because I don't approach it the right way, I won't be confident in it. Anyways, that's my like leadership esoteric thought of the the week this week. Just part of being an owner
Yeah,
and a leader.
yeah, 100%. I mean, as soon as you stop caring what other people think about you, if that is where this is coming from, I don't know, the easier life gets in general. And then, yeah, I think a lot of leaders do think, well, if I just don't address it, it'll stop or it won't be that big of a deal. But that actually you lose a lot of, what's the word I'm looking for? Respect from others, I think, if you don't
Yeah.
address the things.
Integrity.
So you have to, there you go. That's the word. Yeah.
This delay is making this conversation so
I don't know if
awesome.
we have
So,
a delay, so I don't
so
know how long. I
robust.
know it's so awkward.
Oh my gosh. Oh, well, so practical application. Here's the thought. This is a suggestion. Play with it for yourselves, see if it works. Every time you're like, oh, I'm nervous about this conversation or this thing in my business, and if you meditate on it or journal on it, and you're like, I'm worried about what others are going to think, then immediately reframe the worry about what others think into I'm worried about what I'm going to think about myself, and unpack that. What do I not want to think about myself after this? Because that's the path in my mind towards you defining for yourself, like, okay, if I handled the situation like this, I would feel good about myself regardless of the outcome. That's the non-attachment part. I think that puts you in a very powerful position as a leader on all fronts.
Perfect. Sounds
Great.
amazing.
Mic drop. Okay,
Right.
if you
Yeah.
haven't signed up for the summit yet, or if you're new and you're not sure if the summit is for you, you can jump on a call and we're happy to talk to you about it. The purpose of the summit is to get your entire next year planned. Because again, 10 minutes of planning saves an hour of implementation, gives you that thing to focus on. No participant in the summit ever has done the planning, implemented on the planning, come back the next year and said, I didn't grow my business. 0 times. That hasn't happened. The only time that's happened, someone does the summit, they leave and they say, I didn't do anything at all. And that's very rare too, because there's a lot of motivation. So that's piece number one. Piece number two, you're in a group of peers. You're with other owners who are on this same hustle as you, who live and breathe this at different varying levels. And that's super valuable on a lot of levels. One, if you are a successful owner, it's really powerful and empowering to see an owner who's earlier in their stages of work than you, so you can, one, help them. That's the giving back part, but also like to see how far you've come. You have a judgment point. And conversely, a huge feedback piece we got last year, a couple studio owners saying like, these owners are talking about money and lifestyle and things they're working on like I didn't even think was ever possible in my business. I'm trying to, pay this bill next month for a new yoga mat sort of thing, and they're talking about 7 figures in one location. So it like expands your consciousness. So that peer-to-peer group, I think, super powerful. And then obviously you get to come hang out with Carol and I and the rest of the YC team, because the whole team is an all hands on deck situation. So you just get that super coaching hive mind to help you out with whatever you need for your business too. So if we remember, we'll post a link down below here to check it out. Still in the early bird, but there's only a couple weeks left. So jump in there, get it done.
Yeah.
Wowza. All right. That's a wrap on this week's Weekly Roundup. You can listen every Thursday morning right here on Facebook, or subscribe to Studio Cult TV on Spotify, YouTube, or wherever you happen to be listening from. And we will see you next week. Have a great weekend.
Bye.